Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
We've all heard the statement, there's one in every crowd, there's one in every bunch, there's somebody in each class, whatever it is. And I think the same is true with respect to networking. In every city, there is that person. Can be a guy, can be a gal. In Detroit, a guy by the name of Terry Bean. Need to meet people in Detroit, Terry Bean. Cincinnati, there's a guy out there by the name of Clay Hicks. There's a woman in Pittsburgh, Michelle Murder. And I'm not saying they will change the world for you, but it will set you up to certainly cut maybe years off your networking journey if you're trying to get involved in a particular community. I don't know who all these people are. Out in New York, a guy by the name of Adam Connors. I run into lots and lots and lots of these people. It's a lot of fun. We have a great time talking. Today I have on the program with me Chris Redd, and he's your guy in Louisville, Kentucky. And he's an investor, leadership advisor, and he's the co-founder of an organization or an initiative called Network and Chill. It's a cultural networking experience designed to move beyond small talk into meaningful connections. We'll dive into that. But he's got 15 plus years of experience across tech and healthcare, and he helps bridge the worlds of startup leadership and community building. He's also the co-author of a book called Beyond the Handshake, a modern guide to building purpose-driven relationships in business and life. Love the title. I'm sure I love the book. And his work is rooted in the belief that connection is currency. And when we build connections, relationships with intention, we reshape who gets access, opportunity, and influence. Chris, welcome to the program.
Frank, wonderful intro. Thank you for having me today. It's really a pleasure.
Well, it's a pleasure having you. You guys reached out to me. Your team reached out to me, which I thought was awesome. I think I shared with you, this is episode 848. And one of the greatest fears that I had starting out with the podcast is running out of material. And I don't know that I ever will, but there are moments where it's like, oh my gosh, I guess I'm running out of material. I'm running out of people to interview.
Yeah.
And because I have a list here of people I've invited and they've said yes, but they haven't registered yet. And then you just come out of the woodwork. That doesn't sound right. Pennies from heaven. You just, not out of the woodwork.
God's divine timing, right? It's
Yeah.
time for everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know you existed either. My team reached out to me as well. And I was like, this guy is somebody up the street that I should know. I need to engage with. And I love the work you're doing as well, Frank.
I guess let's start in. Let's talk about this book, Beyond Handshakes. Where'd the idea come from?
Yeah. The concept of this book, really has been something we've been working on for over the last year and a half or so, Frank, actually. And really came from the concept of, we started Network and Chill back in 2019. And I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, born and raised. My wife is from Louisville, Kentucky. And so I, started living in Louisville, and I was working as a consultant. So I travel across the country, spend a lot of time on the West Coast, Sacramento, LA, San Diego, you name it. So most of the time I'm back on the weekends, and I would just hang it out with my wife. 2018, I started my first ever remote job fully here in Louisville, Kentucky. And this is my moment. I was like, I want to get out into the community. I want to build relationships. I want to attend some of the tech events and some things that I was interested in. And I was hit pretty abruptly, big city, maybe small city mindset at times, right? And I was getting hit with questions like, what high school did you go to? Where you're from? And so these were situations where I realized I was being put into a bucket of my class based on where I went to high school or where I'm from. And it seemed very difficult to break through at first. And I met a partner of mine, now it's a dear friend and brother of mine, who was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, but spent most of his time in college on the East Coast, up in DC. And between those parallels of DC and the West Coast, it was easy to build relationships and get into that community. And his lifestyle had changed quite a bit from traveling in college and his early stages and in his professional career. So we started just like we were having these meetings and we were meeting some of the right people early on. And we quickly realized none of these people knew one another.
Mm,
And if we want to change the landscape of the community of Louisville, we said, why not do it ourselves? Why not start small and start putting, a small group of people in the room, 20 to 25 people. And the key thing was like when everyone came to the door, anyone came to the door, we were intentional about making sure we said hello and connected them to somebody else in the room. How many times have we gone in a room and like you sit in a corner and nobody comes up to you? And so we want to change what that felt like early on and really being personable with people and being, giving first. And that event from 20 to 25 people in 2019 over the next 4 years grew to over a couple hundred people in the room.
wow, that's amazing.
And you think about the amount of connections we made, amount of speakers we had across the stage, and just a lot of the key relationships that we had. I went from, the one that went into the room and didn't know anyone to now I'm hosting and curating the room. And I felt a sense of responsibility. We learned so many great stories from doing this. And at the end of 2023, I was kind of thinking, what's next? I felt like we started this program really because there was a lack in the community.
Hmm.
And as it kind of gained popularity, of course, there's other people want to do the same thing. It's duplicate, if people copycatting, and not in a bad way, but I feel like now there's enough things going on where the need was served. And now it's like, how do we go deeper? How do we take it to a deeper level? And how do we also like widen our audience as well outside of just Kentucky and outside of Louisville? And I started learning all these stories. I was thinking to myself about like networking seems easy in the concept, but I think a lot of times there's a lot of things people do wrong and or don't have the confidence to do the right way. And I was kind of felt like I was led into these concepts of this book, and I really talked to Ricky about doing it. And we spent the next year and a half really just iterating, putting some stories together, and I'm really putting hopefully a playbook that can help guide people early on in their professional careers or seasoned professionals as well that really build a strong reliable network.
It's an interesting story you tell about Louisville. My daughter lives in Louisville, as you and I have discussed, um, and she works for the soccer teams there, and she's got friends through the soccer teams, and um, but there are different communities where it becomes very. It's the old boy network, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Um, I went to law school. A lot of my friends from Cincinnati went back to Cincinnati. The question in Cincinnati is, what high school did you go to? Columbus is really different. Columbus is, I call it the great melting pot. Everybody is like you. They're here for a reason. Usually involves a woman. I always joke. It usually, oh, my wife's from here. I followed my wife here. And so the networking community has always been very, very open.
Mm.
Um, and it's interesting how, and I think part of it is we've got a lot of big banking here. A lot of retail has developed here, which has brought in lots of people from the outside. Lots of insurance here brought people from the outside. And
Yeah.
so we're all kind of metaphorically living on the same street from somewhere else. Whereas you're talking about your friend who born and raised in Louisville, right? He's um, he's got the blue blood, right? I mean, and you
Yep.
don't, you know?
Yep. Yeah. And it's true, but even for him, when you think about someone who's born and raised in Louisville, and like you said, in Columbus, you're all from the same street, right? In Louisville, you can get classified by going to the right high school, or people deem the right high school, right?
Right.
Or deem the high school that they think is more popular, has a better education. But it's not about doing. What are you doing now? What kind of
Yeah.
character do you have now, right? So
Yeah.
you could still be from this area and not be in the it crowd, that old boys network that you're speaking about.
Yeah.
And so those are some of the walls we want to break down. Because like you said, if we want to be a growing, thriving community, I don't care if you moved here because of your spouse. you
Right.
got a job, right? We want you to feel included. We want people to be good citizens and good community leaders here. And if we don't welcome them in, they're going to come here for a couple of years and they're going to leave. And we see it happen over and over. And
Yeah.
I think that's where we want to break down those walls to really change the landscape and growth, not only for myself, but for my kids and their kids potentially.
Yeah. No, I think I think um, the work is important. Not everybody can be part of the old boy network, right? I mean, you just can't. And I use that term generically. It could be men or women. You can't. And with the stuff I'll do with AmSpirit Business Connections, we'll go into smaller communities, and some people will say, listen, we don't need you here. We all know each other. And I kind of chuckle. I'm like, yeah, for every one of you that feels like you know someone, there's a realtor who feels like they're on the outside looking in, right? There's a mortgage lender on the outside looking in. And that's who I service. That's who you service, right? You're not looking to connect the CEOs of all the big companies,
Exactly. That's
right?
so good, right? I think they already have their own built-in rooms, right? They already have their it's a design that keeps you out. And I
Yeah,
think there's a service for a whole new community out there that wants to connect, wants to find the right rooms to get into, and really have the trust that this is someone that I can, be in relationship with, in business with. And I think you hit the nail on the head of that perspective. And if you're the one sitting, at the top of the hill, you don't see the things that are happening at the bottom. And
yeah,
a lot of times, I think that's the perspective shift that we really got to be intentional on.
yeah. The other thing that I took note of as you were talking, you're kind of this outsider, and by building the community, you're kind of the mayor of the community for, metaphorically speaking, right? I mean, everybody's like, I need to meet. Do you know Chris Red? Have you met Chris Red? And that's got to be a really great feeling to know that those sorts of things are being said about you or to you.
It is, I think, I've come a long way over the last, I've been here for almost 8 years now. And some of my initial feelings coming into the community were, to be honest, I was ready to move. I told my wife, like, I want to be in a bigger city. I'm used to coming from places like Charlotte, North Carolina, where, like you said, everyone's from somewhere else, and so
Yeah,
the playing field's level. It's easy to meet people, and here it's quite different. And then, I got that challenge. Sometimes that competitive edge with me. I'm like, you realize how a city works, and then you kind of have to gamify it, right? And so the change that shifted my mindset is really like I realized the value of an introduction went a long way in
yeah,
Louisville. I mean, the introduction was everything, right? I could have met somebody at a networking event next week, find an introduction to that person. It's like a whole nother relationship off of that. And so I met some of the right people early on, and then really honed in on giving first and adding value, and then ask for introductions. And those introductions took me a long way. And across that time, you go from no one knowing you, then 40 under 40 in Louisville, leadership programs here as well. And so, I'm most proud of the not giving up and working through those challenges,
yeah.
and mainly because I'm like I'm creating an environment that's better for my kids. I'm creating a lifestyle that's allowing them to be more confident. They see me a lot of events as well, and I'm leading by example.
I love it. I mean, you basically had that damn it moment. I'm not going, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, you might not accept me, but I'll find people who will, and I'll find
yeah.
enough people who will accept me that I'll have enough influence, enough clout, um, that you can't deny me. I may never be in your circle, but I'm here, right?
Yeah.
I am here.
I think
Um,
that's the point I'm at right now, Frank. I'm like now I'm like I want to explode. I want to get the message out. I want to empower others. And now I'm like that influence is coming. You add that in with the right, connections and the right collaborators and, money as well. Like I think the influence gets even bigger. And I'm not doing it for anyone else. I want to do it to make a true change and not, like you said, not to be in their circles. I want to dismantle that and really not be ignored anymore.
Right. One of the words you used on the intake form was um, with a statement you had, why cultural fluency matters more than clout. You also talk about emotional intelligence. I'm familiar with emotional intelligence. We can certainly talk about it, but cultural fluency I've never heard of. Can you?
Yeah. So we were, I think in the idea when we started networking share early on, me and Ricky are both in technology and tech. He's a startup founder. I was in investing. And one of the things I, really realized, we are going to a lot of tech events. And honestly, there was, you go in the room and there was no other Black entrepreneurs or Black
Okay.
professionals in the room.
I thought, yep. Okay. I get it. Yeah.
And be honest, right? And I don't think it was intentional, but I think a lot of the rooms were just created where it didn't exist. And so I started meeting some folks, and we had our first, we had our third networking chill across the bridge in New Albany, Indiana. And there were 45 to 50 Black technologists in the room. And I went, one of my counterparts was there, and he, was texting some pictures to some of his friends. And he's like, can you believe this, all these Black technologists on the room? And it was like this daunting moment where they thought it didn't exist.
Yeah.
And so I just realized it was like this cultural moment where if you're not speaking to the right audiences or not how to speak to the audiences, you think it doesn't exist, and it does. And so what we were trying to dismantle was like, it's technology, it's entrepreneurship. Like we all should be in the room collaborating together. Like, and
Yeah.
so we realized different voices, different people. Like, so we're trying to be intentional, whether it's women, people of color. We want to be intentional of
Right.
bringing the room together. And I realized that that piece of it is something that most people don't think about. And we really think that's, a critical piece of the building a diverse audience, diverse community. And that cultural piece is quite important.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, we all have 206 bones, I think it is, the same basic DNA, right? It's not identical. I'm white, you're black, so it's not identical. Um, and I don't want to get political here, but I
Yeah.
really think that's what gives the United States power. I mean, power
Yeah.
gives us our
I,
strength is because it's like, you know, we're able to do these things. We don't do it well all the time, but we're able to
yep.
do these things.
Yes.
And you start bringing people in, different colors, different backgrounds, different genders, um, and it's not an echo chamber of all the same thinking. It's um, and just a lot of ingenuity, a lot of creativity comes from that. That's awesome. Um, Overthinking. You talked about overthinking as well. You mentioned you were shy, but you used the term overthinking. Thriving as an overthinker in networking.
Yeah, I think it's the key. I think my background, like I said, I'm talking about how this great network and having these great relationships now, and not being afraid to talk to anyone. But growing up in high school and college, I was quite shy. I had a very close circle. Not in a bad way, but at times I think we can be unsure in ourselves. We all have doubts, right? Let's be honest. So we all have that little voice in our head that at times gives us the feeling that we're not enough.
Yeah,
And I think it's so key that we all have to find that confidence within that we are enough.
yeah,
And a lot of times, I speak to overthinking because it's on many entrepreneurs that I've met that go into rooms where they don't know anybody. Like
yeah,
most people won't go to an event by themselves because they have to know somebody in the room. And a lot of times we go in these rooms and we have these preconceived notions that what people think about us, about our background, where we went to school, and we kind of walk in with this unconfidence in a way where we don't attract the right relationships.
yeah,
And I think a lot of times we put ourselves in a position to lose before we even get to the event. And I think that's a part of the overthinking that we have to dismantle. We have to find that self-confidence and really own the room, no matter what room you go into. Might not be for you, but you should have this self-confidence that you belong in that space.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that belonging in the space is most important. You might walk out one connection, maybe no connections, but I think if you go walk into that space feeling like you don't belong, you're doomed from the start.
Yeah. We'll talk about Wisconsin before we're done. I grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan,
Okay.
about 4 hours north of Green Bay. But at any rate, a lot of wilderness up there, and you're out in the woods. And hey, if you run into a bear, you need to remember that the bear is just as afraid of you as you are of it, right?
Mm.
And my analogy to networking is kind of the same thing. You're walking into that room, that person you think who looks really confident is scared shitless as well, right? You
Yep.
belong. They're here. You think they belong. You think they belong more than you. You belong just as much. Don't care.
Yes.
Don't care if you
Yes.
just graduated. Don't care.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, so I love that. I love that term, belonging. That's awesome. Um, Wisconsin, you got to be a Packer fan.
Big Green Bay Packer fan, man.
Oh,
Right
you and
on.
I, we are brothers from another mother. Because I grew up north of Green Bay. My kids, I've got 3 kids. They're huge Packer fans. As soon as you
Love it.
said Milwaukee, I'm like, all right. I went to undergrad in Beloit, Wisconsin, which
Oh,
is,
wow. Okay.
yeah, just west of Milwaukee. A lot of friends
Yes.
from Milwaukee. I can't say I ever spent a lot of time there, but went to track meets. I ran track in college. Played football in college. Yeah, so awesome, awesome.
I love the Wisconsin connection. I love the Green Bay connection. I mean, I found
Yeah,
a couple of Packer bars down here in Louisville, Kentucky. So hearing that, my family's still in Wisconsin, so it's near and dear to my heart, and
yeah.
I love that area.
Oh, it's a great state. I mean, it's right on Lake Michigan. Yeah, it's a little cold in the winter, but
Mhm.
I think Louisville gets their chill as well. So, um, all right, how can the audience help you? How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love to connect with the audience. I mean, you always ask how the audience can help me. I would love to figure out ways I can help the audience. But one way I think right now, like take a look at the book, find out ways if it add value to you. You can find the book at www.rhetoric.com. I'm sure Frank can link that in the show notes as well. And then I'd love to connect on LinkedIn. Follow me on LinkedIn, Chris D. Red, and I'm on Twitter, on X, should I say now, at Chris D. Red
Yeah,
1. That's REDD. Love to connect, love to engage, love to find ways that we can collaborate and work together.
yeah. Buy the book. Buy the book. Can they get it on Amazon? Is that on Amazon as well?
We're gonna add it to Amazon soon. Right now, we have it on our individual website. We just kind
Okay,
of released it and launched it in the last, I would say 3 weeks. So we're
okay,
getting some early feedback now. We'll iterate it, we'll change it, we'll make it a wider. We'll add it to Amazon
okay.
in the near future.
Sounds great. Well, I appreciate you have coming on the program. This is as you divine intervention, however you want to say, that we've run into one another. And um, as I said, my daughter's down in Louisville. I get down there, and we'll
Yeah, Frank,
connect.
thank you for having me on today. It's really great to engage with you and the audience, and keep doing the great work. And hopefully, we get to work together again soon.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.